Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's edition of the Google Hangout with Fran Tarkenton. My name is Ed Fox, aka Billy the Kid. I'm joined here by Harry Curbo down there, our technical advisor, and the one and only Fran Tarkenton himself. Today we're going to be talking about hiring lessons from the NFL. It's a great article and a great conversation that Fran wrote about recently. If you want to read that article after this hangout, it should be there on the right-hand side of your screen. Feel free to go ahead and click on that when we get done and take a look. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, Fran, I've been talking to a lot of people about this draft coming up and what's really important and what coaches should be looking at in these new players. And the one thing everybody keeps telling me that whether it's business or football, the only thing that you should really look at in a player is their ability or their talents or their skills. I'm interested. What do you think about that?
That's all wrong. I think, Billy the Kid, here's the deal. If you've got 11 all-pros on your offensive team and you got 11 all-pros on your defensive team, and you don't have a culture of team and respect and working together and sacrificing for one another and having that team mentality, then you die. And we know that's true in sports. I don't care what kind of talent you have, what kind of money you have, if that locker room is not together and the culture in that locker room is not only of respect, but also love. Tom Coughlin, who's a kind of an old school coach of the New York Giants, and he had confrontations with a lot of the players because he was pretty harsh. And the old school football that I came up in, it was yelling and screaming and demeaning, and the more I yelled, the more I kicked you, and the more I drove you, the better you're going to be. It's not a good way. It wasn't good then, and it's not good now. And so the more independent player today, making more money. Michael Strahan, who is a Hall of Famer, now worldwide famous broadcaster, and he didn't get along with Coughlin. And finally, Coughlin, he got it. And they won 2 Super Bowls. And during the course of the playoffs of the first Super Bowl, Tom Coughlin got in there before the game and told the guys, "I love you." Now, for an old school guy to tell all the guys, "I love you," give him the L word was very uncomfortable. But it changed the way he thought. I have 2 of my kids, they're adults, work here in our business. And one is 50 years old and the other is 45 years old. They both have 3 children. And I said, you're leaders now. And all the people that we have here, you got to love them as much as you love your children. Yeah, you do. The people that you work with, your teammates on the football team, I don't care if you have 10 employees, 5 employees, or just one other employee. It's a matter of not just how smart they are, but it's got to be the caring and the respect and the willingness to be able to disagree and to have open discussion and do it without calling somebody dirty names. Do it without any angst. And that's what teams are, and that's what's important, that we have teammates. When I interview people here to work, I interview everybody that comes here eventually. And I'm really looking at one thing. Can you get along with the people that are here? If you're the brightest person in the world, got all the credentials in the world and all the stuff, and you're not able to get along with the people in our group, it won't work for you and it won't work for us. The culture is what we are. And the culture of love and respect is so important to your little business. And it carries not over. It also carries over from your employees, your partners, and all the way to your customers. You treat even the one that complains the most, You got to listen to the complaints. The customer's always right, and we got to listen to the complaints and deal with them with love and respect. And that's how you build a team that has a chance to win, a team that can share ideas. And I want everybody to share ideas because all of us are a lot smarter than one of us. So Billy the Kid, that's kind of, where I come there. But let me just add one more thing to that. Seattle Seahawks under Pete Carroll for the last 2 years have played in 2 straight Super Bowls, won one, and then they had a chance, didn't they, to win this other one. And they were on the 1-yard line, and little Russell Wilson threw that pass. It looked like, they would have given the ball to Marshawn Lynch, but they get it intercepted. All of a sudden, the world turned. But Pete Carroll, he failed as a head coach at the Boston Patriots, the New England Patriots, years ago. Then he went to the New York Jets, and he failed as a head coach of the New York Jets. But he learned from each one, and we have to learn from our failures. And he goes to Southern Cal, and wins a couple of national championships. And then he goes on to Seattle. Seattle was never had a good franchise. Didn't have a track record, never won a Super Bowl. And he changed how he was. And he built a culture of respect. He looked at each individual and not try to make Bobby be like Billy. It was a culture of helping people be the best they could be. My job as a coach, my job as a leader is to make each person as the best they can be and understand their differences in people. And that's what he did. But, we all want to get that great player, that silver bullet person that can just take us to the next level. And during their Super Bowl season, they traded a big trade with Minnesota for Percy Harvin. Played at Florida, skilled guy, can run back kicks, can run back punts and kickoffs, can play wide receiver. He can line up in the backfield and run out of the backfield in the slot receiver. Really a dynamic player. Played for my old team, the Minnesota Vikings, and was great there when he was healthy. So they give up about 3 or 4 draft choices to get Percy Harvin in the middle of that beginning of that Super Bowl season 2 years ago. And he got hurt, and he really didn't play, and he played a little bit in the Super Bowl game and did well. But last year, Seattle started off really not good. They had a struggle. After the 4th week of the season, Pete Carroll saw the signs, saw the reality. With all this great skill that Percy Harvin had, he was a toxic person in the locker room. He didn't get along with Russell Wilson, didn't get along with a lot of the other players, and this was causing friction. When you have friction in your locker room, friction in your little business that you're running, things are not going to work. He did what he had to do. What did he do? He said, I'm going to trade you, Percy Harvin, to the New York Jets. He got nothing for him. I think a 7th-round draft choice pending. Nothing. But his team all of a sudden turned around. That locker room got together again. It became a team of helping each other, a team of respect, a culture of love. Yeah, the L word's a really important culture. It's really important what you're doing because you can't fake the L word. And in your little company, 1 employee, 5, 10, whatever you have, if you don't have that, you're not going to maximize your chance to make your business work, the chance to really help your customer. And that's really very important.
So it's extremely important to look at who you're hiring and what they do and make sure they fit in your culture. So explain to me, I guess after you get done hiring them and you found the right person, I guess as a business, all you really have to do then is focus on making money. Is that correct?
Billy the Kid, that's wrong again. We all think, we look at Wall Street. Isn't that the magic of Wall Street? These people are trading stocks and bonds and securities. They're building companies, and they're billionaires up there. In the last few years, we found out because a lot of them have gone to jail. Some of them have gone to jail. The ones they caught because they're doing insider trading. They're cheating, and then we have this magical thing of the last 20 years called private equity firms. Private equity firms go out and raise a lot of money from a lot of institutions, and they have hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, and they buy up companies. And they'll buy a company up, and here's what they do. They hire a consulting firm, usually McKinsey and Company, big consulting firm out of New York. And you know what they do when they buy the company? They want to see how many people they can fire. They want to be efficient. They want to be more efficient is what they say. So they want to fire people. They want to close, if you have stores out there, they want to close stores down and cut down expenses and create more cash flow. I have never heard a private equity firm ever talk about the mission of business is to help people. The mission of business to these people is to make money. If the mission of business is to make money, then you will compromise your principles. If your mission of business, which it should be, is to help people to solve problems, to have products and services that people really want, and your emphasis is not me, it's the customer, you got a sustainable mission. In your little business or any big business, the mission has got to be helping somebody else. The mission of life is to help somebody else. The mission of a quarterback is to help my teammates. The mission of business, the real mission of it, is to help people, which means I want to provide products and services that they actually need. Products and services that solve problems. And Steve Jobs, what did he do at Apple? He even wanted to do products that they didn't know that they could have, and have features on those products that they didn't even know they could have. And what fuels Apple? Was Steve Jobs alive, and with him now gone? And the new CEO is taken, was Tim Cook, I think his name is, and he's continued doing what Steve Jobs did. Products and services that people need, make those products better, and my goodness, they've gone from a PC all the way now to we have the smartwatch coming out. That's the fun of business when your focus is helping people. Now, if you're going to do that, you got one important thing to do. You got to talk to your customers. Yeah, you got to talk to your customers. You got to ask them, what is it that I can do for you? What do you like about my product? What you don't like about my product? What do you need me to make that product to do? How can I help you more? Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, he used to walk the stores wherever they were. He'd walk in those stores and talk to his associate. These were his employees. These were his business partners. This is a billionaire. This is the richest man in the world, talking to these people. And I was with him. I walked down the aisles with him, and he'd say, what can I do to help you? What products are selling? What products are not selling? Why are these selling and why are they not selling? Are we taking care of the customer? Are our prices in line? Is our service in line? He's talking to the people who were dealing with the customers, because Mr. Sam wasn't dealing with the customers. You've got to talk to if you've got a number of employees and they're dealing with the customers, you want to be sure that you're talking to the employees about what the customer needs. Because the mission of business is to help your customers. The mission of business is to bring value. The mission of business is to be transparent. The mission of business is tell the truth. The customer says, well, your product do this, and you got to say, no, it doesn't do that. But it does this. You've got to be to tell the truth, because at the end of the day, who do you and I do business with? We do business with the people we trust. We do business with the people we develop relationships with, which is another thing of business. At whatever level, you've got to build relationships, relationships of trust, relationships of caring. Relationships are part of your culture. Not yelling and screaming and complaining to people, but to embrace and to help and to listen and to learn and to ask questions. This is what business is about. Sounds like what life's about, doesn't it? Well, it is. It's what your family should be about. It's what your friends should be about. It's what football should. Successful football teams do all these things. Successful sports teams do all these things. And the others are constantly turning over, aren't they? and they're constantly looking for a new coach, a new this, a new that, and they never seem to get out of their rut because they haven't seen the light. And the light is the mission of life is to help other people. The mission of business is to help other people. And when that is forefront of what you're doing, you're down the road to success. You have a chance to be successful if that is your mission.
So having the right company culture, paying attention to your customers, interacting with your employees regularly, making sure you're focusing on helping other people and your customers are the key focuses that you should have. Now, talking about all these things, can you tell me where the NFL fails during draft time? What are the hazards of the draft, talking about these things?
Let me finish with the hazards of the draft. You know, character means a lot. Johnny Mansell came out, you know, as the golden boy. Johnny Football. Boy, he was dynamic on the field. He just played at Texas A&M, lit it up for 2 years. Dynamic player, but he had really off-the-field issues. Big party guy, got in a lot of trouble, and many of the coaches asked me, what do you think of Johnny Mansell? I said, I've never met him. But, man, has he got great skills and great talent. But you better get to know him, because if these issues are there and he's got character issues, they won't go away. And I wouldn't touch him. And finally, after doing more research, I told my friends in Minnesota I wouldn't touch him. Thank God they didn't draft him. And look what happened to Cleveland. He just exploded. The tendency, I want the biggest, strongest, fastest guy no matter what they do. Now this year, you've got Jameis Winston coming out of Florida State. He is a great player. He's a smart player. He is a leader on that team. He can play at the NFL level, probably the #1 quarterback prospect out there easily. But he's got behavioral issues. He's got attitude issues. He's had one problem after the next problem after the next problem, the next problem. Those are not going to go away. Then you got Marcus Mariota out of Oregon, who is the right kind of guy. He's got skills, maybe not quite the skills today that Winston has, but he's got skills, he's got a track record, and he's got impeccable character, and he's got all the intangibles that you want. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, mark my word, will draft Winston as the #1 pick of the draft, and I'm going to suggest to you that's a big, big mistake, because I think what we've seen of him character-wise is who he is. And the people that draft Marcus Mariota will have a much better chance of having a franchise quarterback that can help them win championships. Culture, integrity trumps talent. And you've got to look at the people you hire. You better look at who they are, what they believe in, and what's their everyday behavior. And if they've got behavioral problems, attitude problems, character problems, you shouldn't hire them. And that's an important thing, because you've got to hire people that can get along with each other, that have the right integrity and the right principles, because you don't teach those.
Wow. Well, thank you, Fran, very much. I think that's fantastic information. It's certainly helped me out a lot. And for those of you that are already members, thanks for joining us. If you're not a member, there's a link on the right side of your screen to go ahead and join FranTarkenton.com and become one of our teammates. Unfortunately, this is going to be our only hangout this month due to some time constraints and scheduling issues, but we'll certainly be back next month twice, hopefully, and go ahead and go back online regularly and check the website for the schedule. Thanks again, Fran.
Thank you.